Hello my lovelies, so this is Lizzie from Love from Lizzie, and today I'm bringing you a video with just one card because it's the Love from Lizzie mini Valentine's hop. So I'm just going to run through the giveaway with you first. Now in the comments below, if you can let me know which of my peel-offs colours is your favourite, you're going to be in with a chance of winning one of these special packs which isn't available in the shop. And yeah, 3 random winners will be drawn and you'll get notified within the comments. I also just wanted to show you here there's 3 new peel-offs into the store as well. The offer I'm going to run through quickly whilst I'm making here is that if you buy 20 sheets or more of the Love from Lizzie peel-offs, you'll have free shipping anywhere in the world. So I get emails quite regularly from people saying that they really love them, but because we're in the UK and they're in America or Australia, or New Zealand, that the shipping just makes it that little bit too much. So I'm going to do free shipping for 48 hours. So fill your baskets, it's while stocks last. And now I'm just going to quickly return to my card before it's run away from me. But I'm making from my Valentine's special edition of last year, and I've taken the black pearlescent specialty cardstock and split it lengthways to create a top folding A2 card base. And then I've also taken, it's like a blush pearlescent cardstock, and I've cut 2 panels which are ever so slightly smaller. So you've got 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and they're both the same. And I've taken one here, and I'm using the stamp set called Vintage Lace, which I'll link in the description below, but that made up part of the Valentine's special edition kit. And I'm placing it in my mist in. I'm not sure if you can see there, but I've placed my cardstock 1 square in and 1 square up from the bottom, just to make sure that the stamp really does get a good coverage, because it is ever so slightly longer than the panel. So just to make sure that it goes off the edges and I don't end up left with any extra bits. And then I've used my anti-static powder tool, because with the pearlescent cardstock it's very shiny, so the Misty is great for stamping on this. If you do it with a stamping block, you run the risk of it sort of skidding because it's the 2 shinies together. But I always like to ink up twice, again, the joy of a Misty. And I'm using my Golden Crown embossing powder, which is ultra fine detail, and just putting a really generous heap on there. This is very unusual that I'm having so much time to talk about one card, so I'm very much enjoying this. Okay, and when I heat set the super fine detail, I always heat set from the back, just to stop the powder from floating around, I suppose, from moving where it was, in case it wasn't stuck particularly well in the Versamark. It just preserves the embossing powder within the image better. Then, having used the coffee filter, I sort of scoop it all back in. And then I've chosen a sentiment, again from the same stamp set, and I've chosen Be My Valentine. And again, I'm anti-static powdering and going to heat set in that same Golden Crown embossing powder. And I've just popped that sentiment to the bottom right hand corner of my card panel. The sale, I would also like to add, the stock has, I knew that I was going to be doing this for a little while, so I've had lots and lots of peel-offs made. However, the sale lasts as long as the stock does, I'm afraid. So you've got 48 hours to fill your baskets and check out for the free shipping, but it must only be peel-offs in your basket. Anything else has got regular shipping attached. Okay, and here I'm using a Spellbinders die. This is one that I've just found in my stash, but it is called Vines of Passion, and it's got 2 dies in that set, but it's got a nice big heart, and I've just die cut that from the centre of my panel, which incidentally, the embossing powder stood up very well too. And I've cut a piece of acetate here, and I'm not sure if you saw, but I just twisted it at an angle so that the heart, as it were, is sort of laying on its side. But that's because I want to use the grid lines on my craft mat. And I'm using the widest peel-off. This is of the new ones, the clear peel-offs with gold mirror. So it's just got like a gold edge to it. You will be able to see it in the pictures better at the end. It'll give you a better idea. But what I'm doing is I'm going over the top of sort of the inch measurements, so the widest of my lines on my grid mat, and then I'm taking the middle width peel off and running that along the lines that are the solid lines on my mat. And you can see that I've just used some masking tape just to hold my little acetate piece in place, because obviously I'm following to the letter these lines, and if it skids it will show. So as you can see, all waste pieces also are put back onto the peel off sheet. There's no such thing as waste when it comes to peel offs. Those tiny little pieces are really useful, and maybe I should have scheduled in a video to show you how to do that when I do one of those sorts of cards where you use up all your little scraps, but maybe that will come next time. So I'm just working my way around, and now I'm moving into the skinniest of the peel-offs, and I'm just going along all the dotted lines on my craft mat. So it's almost like I'm creating a plaid over this acetate heart. I have left this all in here. This card took me around 45 minutes to make from start to finish. I did have an idea in mind of what I actually wanted to do, and it completely went off piste. I had a really pretty patterned paper, and I had some sequins I was going to use, so it's this card evolved all by itself. And so I'm nearly finishing up, but I did leave it all in just to give you an idea of, you know, the process that I used. I just moved that little piece of masking tape around once I'd covered off all of the other areas, just to make sure that I could get edge to edge on that pretty plaid. And then once they were all done, I removed that little piece of masking tape and then held it up looking through the front of my card to make sure that they sat where I wanted them to. And then I could have wet glued them, but it would have been a little bit more complicated with keeping it in place. So I had this Scotch sellotape on my craft desk still from when I did my last video, and nobody's going to see the back of the card. So I just worked my way around the acetate, taping it on to make sure that it didn't budge. Now, I guess that everybody is assuming I'm making a shaker here because of how much I love a sequin, but I did actually just want to let the peel-offs shine all by themselves. So I'm using some Scotch foam mounting tape, and I'm covering that panel up very, very heavily. Again, it looks a little bit like a patchwork mess, but this way, if I send this through the post, it's going to stand up and it's not going to get squashed or crushed. So having put all those pieces on, I then remove all the backing and then pop that onto my card front. So it is measured to be ever so slightly smaller, so it fits perfectly. And I was tempted to leave it at just this, as you can see, because I move on to the inside of the card. And this is another rare treat, because I so often make 10 cards. The insides get a little neglected, but I had cut that extra panel, and because the card base is the black pearlescent, you'd have to use a white gel pen or something, which is, you know, it's fine. But I thought if I'm putting this on the front of the card, I'll also put it on the inside. So I just used some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to attach that blush pearlescent piece on the inside with just a couple of the peel-offs, just to tie it into the front. So it's a very simple internal decoration, but it's one of the joys of peel-offs. They make it really nice and easy. Now, I thought at this point my card may be done, but I decided to add some ebony black Nouveau drops, and I'm not sure how it is where you guys are, but currently it's pretty cold here, and I didn't warm my Nouveau up, and I had a bit of like an explosion here, and then it made a real mess. I like to use the rule of 3 with Nouveau drops, but excuse my head, but you're seeing me here scratch the Nouveau back into its sort of circular area, and to sort of try to mitigate the fact that those 3 blobs were all in a line at the top, I brought in some Gold Coast glitter drops as well to sort of spread around those black ones to make it look a little more organic. But when I have had problems with Nouveau, using a craft knife with a very fine tip and dragging it back in towards the dots usually is able to save the day. So full details of the giveaway and the sale are going to be in the description below, and all you have to do is comment which is your favourite colour of peel off. Until next time, happy paper crafting. Bye!